All right, everyone, we're back on the dog walk and talk videos today after beating Leicester and Ruud van Nistolrooy's first game in charge. It looks like he's going to get to the international break before Amorim comes in. Quick talk on the Leicester game, quick talk on Ruud's first game. There's loads of people out there saying the players have done it again. They've turned up when a manager's been sacked. Let's take a little step back here a minute, please. We're playing Leicester in the Carabao Cup, who have basically dropped half their team to play us last night. We would have won that game like that anyway. Let's forget the manager change for a minute. I want to talk more about Ruud van Nistolrooy and what he did tactically than the players. Because I think that he's gone for a double pivot with Ugarte and Casemiro. Why hasn't Ten Hag been playing Casemiro and Ugarte like that? We all know that Casemiro's legs are not the best, and Ugarte puts legs next to him a lot like Fred did with McTominay and whoever else he played with. And that's why you've seen the best of Casemiro. I've seen a big channel this morning basically slating Casemiro for turning up now the manager's been sacked. Well, I think we all know for a fact from what Casemiro has been saying for the last few months that he's not a fan of Ten Hag's tactics and he's left him out to dry. So it's hardly a surprise when you put Casemiro in a more comfortable position alongside someone who complements him that he has a good game. But again, let's not pretend that Casemiro wouldn't have had a good game anyway. It's a weakened Leicester side. They're a championship side anyway, with half their main players not playing. So you can almost compare it to frigging Barnsley. They're not much better than that. We still conceded 2 goals with some horrendous defending again. Let's not forget about that. Some diabolical defending again. If we defend like that on Sunday against Chelsea, we're not winning that game. And yeah, I'm not going to go say the players have had a bounce back yet. If we go out and beat Chelsea comfortably, 2 or 3-0, and Bruno and Rashford turn up, then you can talk about potential player bounce back, because the manager's been sacked, because everyone's saying Bruno bounced back again yesterday. He was bang average, man. He was playing a completely terrible team and he scored a wildly deflected free kick and a goal where they've passed it to him in their own 18-yard box. And yes, he's done well with the finish, taking the keeper on and putting it in. That's been fine. I like it. But let's not pretend Bruno's gone in there and run a game against Man City. I mean, a couple of takeaways from that game is I think we did try and be more patient around the edge of the box with the ball. There was a lot more passing on the edge of the box than there has been recently. Obviously, there's still too many pop shots going off for my liking still. Obviously, Casemiro's was an absolute worldie. But, I mean, how many times does that go in? It's just happened to go in last night on a match when Erik Ten Hag's been sacked. If Casemiro takes that shot in the last 100 games Erik Ten Hag's been in charge, it don't go in, and everyone's sat here slagging him off for shooting. It's luck. The free kick was luck. The massive deflection. Garnacho's second goal's arguably offside, would have been ruled out. But I don't want to take it away from Van Nistelrooy. He seemed to want it more, and I think we've seen over the last couple of weeks when he's been on the bench, he's a lot more animated and seems to be a lot more involved in what's going on a match day than Ten Hag. Ten Hag, to me, reminds me of a manager who tells the team what he wants them to do pre-game, and every reaction he has in a game is based off a laptop. The subs, we all know he's never had a plan B. So I'll sit down now, I've got next to me rock. We all know Ten Hag hasn't got a plan B. So when his laptop management style don't work, he's got nowhere to go and hide. Van Nistolrooy yesterday, I think, needs to take a little bit of praise. I know a lot of people wanted to see Ahmad. He didn't play him. Ahmad come on and looked good towards the end of the game again. He's played Xerxes over Højlund. Some people saying the Dutch connection. Or was it to give Højlund a rest because he's constantly injured? Or does Ruud think that Xerxes is better for the team than Højlund? Personally, I think Højlund is a much better player than Xerxes. Xerxes against what, like I've already said, a mid-table championship team they had out yesterday at best. He looked like he should have been playing for them. He was awful. He had one or two moments where he got the ball and he linked it up well, spreading it out wide. But as a striker, a target man for Man United up front, he was absolutely garbage last night. And look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I think Højlund is going to be the one who scores us 20, 30 goals a season, because one, he needs to stay fit. Højlund has got to stay fit to prove that he can be Man United's number one. Like I said in my last video, I think, he's a £70 million striker. Bare minimum, he needs to be scoring 15 in the Premier League. And I know people say he scored 16 last season, but those 16 were few in Champions League versus poor sides. And he had a spate of, 5 or 6, 7 games in a row where he scored a goal in the middle of the season. I'm afraid 7 or 8 Premier League goals, or maybe 10, whatever he got, isn't enough. He cost 70 million quid. Yes, he's young. He needs to be scoring minimum, very minimum, 15 to 20 goals in the Premier League alone. Forget the cup competitions. And he has got to stay fit. I think there's a huge, huge chance now that we end up with Gyökeres from Sporting, and I know everyone puts 2 and 2 together, but Amorim obviously took him there, has grown him into what he is after him having a great season at Coventry. He might cost us another 70 or 80 million, but at the minute he seems like a way more complete striker than anyone we've got. And we've spent a lot of money on the midfield now, and a lot of money especially on the back four. For me, we absolutely need a left back, we absolutely need a striker, and I would say we need a winger to the tune of somebody like Grealish, and I think we have that in Ahmad to some extent, who's unselfish. There's been a lot of talk, and I think a lot of people saying about our wingers not being as good as they think they are, or our whole front line, and I totally agree with that. I think Garnacho's got huge potential but needs coaching. He's very exciting, very erratic, very young. He needs a proper coach to be in there, and hopefully this is what Amorim can be, to learn him when he needs to use that explosive pace and power and when he needs to keep it simple, or he will end up like another Rashford. Rashford, we all know he's Rashford. He can turn it on one game and not the next. Inconsistent, 27 years old, been here since he was a kid. Personally, as loads of people have said, it's time for him to go, and I agree. If you're getting more than 50 million quid for Rashford with the wages on, take it, move on. Same with Bruno. I know we want to give him another contract, and Amorim being the Sporting manager, everyone's saying that he's going to love Bruno and get the best out of Bruno and all of this lot. I mean, will he really? Bruno's 30 years old now. Bruno's 30. He's now on a bumper contract. I think we will see Bruno continue to play in this side. But the reality of it is Bruno Fernandes the future of Man United? And the answer to that is no. And I think, again, last night it shows. I mean, how many players have we got rid of that love the club and work hard and don't perform? I can name quite a few. Going back to Dan James, Fred, McTominay. You know, there's plenty out there that love the club. You could even say Maguire. Maguire's been professional through his whole time here. He's just not good enough. And people want him out. And what's the difference with Fernandes? Just because in one and every so many games he'll do a worldie goal or assist doesn't make him a Man United player. Just because he loves the club and he runs around a lot doesn't make him a Man United player. Like I said, we've outed so many players over the last 3 or 4 years that love the club and put a shift in, but we say aren't good enough. And to me, Bruno Fernandes ain't good enough. Wasteful. He's a complete and utter person who will do something in a moment that's incredible, but for the other 89 minutes of the game, he's bang average. You need more than that, especially from your captain and the person who's supposed to be in that 10 position making the game tick over. And I keep saying it and I keep saying it, and we'll see if eventually it changes. But I think obviously Amorim will play Bruno to start with. There's no doubt about that. And a quick couple of minutes on the so-called 3-5-2, 3-4-3 that Amorim plays. I mean, what do you think he's going to play? Or who? I mean, I'm going to take it when everyone's fit, apart from Luke Shaw, because he'll never be fit. It's probably going to be Martinez, De Ligt and Yoro. You would have thought Onana in goal. And the midfield's very interesting, because will he go with like full-back wing-backs or will he go with wingers? Because most 3-5-2 or 3-4-3s, it'd be very interesting, because regardless if you go with wingers or full-backs, they need to work hard defensively and very hard, like Saka, for example. Rashford, to me, wouldn't work hard enough to be a wing-back. He'll probably play him, but to me, he won't work hard enough to do it. I would think he probably will play Delo on the right, and on the left, it's a tough one. Will he go for an inverted, like Garnacho? Or will he go for like Ahmad? Or it's a tough what he will do with those. I think you've got to play Casemiro and Agate in the middle. The wing-back situation could be anyone for me, really. Or will he go for like the three? I think personally I'll be playing Bruno in one of the three up front. So it's probably going to be Højlund down the middle, Bruno off the right of the three, and then probably Garnacho, you would think. Or will he do 2 10s? So a Højlund up front and maybe Bruno and someone like potentially Rashford or Ahmad in behind Højlund, and the join as a second striker. It's tough to know who in our squad fits those roles. I think defensively we've got the players for it. But up front, we all know our strikers and wingers are a bit hit and miss positionally. Can they do the job that Amorim will want them to do in those front 3 or 4 positions? I'll leave you with that. Let's see what happens on Sunday or whenever it is versus Chelsea, because I think that is the real test of whether this team has started to turn up now. Ten Hag's been sacked, or whether we will revert back to type and be poor. I'm actually going to say we'll probably play a bit better if we're going to play Agate and Casemiro in a double pivot. But I still think it's going to be a struggle for us to beat Chelsea. It could easily be a game where we get beat, but we do have an okay record versus Chelsea, so who knows on that one. Anyway, I'm going to leave you here now because the dog's running around with his ball. I'm at this crazy derelict area in the middle of a field. It's insane that this is just in the middle of a town. Like no one here, huge nature reserve woodland with just a street which was clearly put in here for factories and whatever that have never been built on this land. So anyway, on that note, I'll see you later. Tell me what you think about Amorim's formation in the comments and whether you think the players have bounced back yet or you're going to wait a couple more games under Ruud to see if they have. Please like, favourite and subscribe if you're this far into the video. And tell me if you like these walking around videos or if you like the ones where I'm just sat in my front room talking. See you later. Peace.